Well, hello! In this video, we are going to be continuing our Adidas website. We only have two goals for this lesson, where we're going to just add a little logo to the top left corner, piece of cake, and we're going to add some cards. So if you look on the website, there's a logo here, so we want to talk about that. And here's some cards. There's 4 cards here and 6 cards here. So we're going to talk about how to do both these different kinds of cards. These cards have words on the bottom. These cards have words on top of the image. So those are 2 different ways. We'll do all these. So without further ado, let's make it happen, Captains. First, let's start with the really easy one. I want to add that logo. Now, usually these logos are actually called something called SVGs, which is a scalable vector graphic. So it's not really an image. So when I want a logo, I usually just Google it. So I'm going to say Adidas logo. Okay, and let's just find one that looks like it. This one looks good. And so I'm going to go over here, copy that image. And then if you look over here in my nav, it's going to be the first thing in my nav. So I'm going to add an image with an ID of logo. Okay. And then I'm going to say SRC equals to that image. Okay. You're going to notice it's huge. And now to just bring down the size of it, I'm going to say width equals, and usually these are like 80. It's just like a way of sizing it. And if you look here, now it's right there. So is everything in line perfectly? No. Do I feel like spending time on that? Really? No. But at least now it has the logo of Adidas, and I got my nav bar. All right. So under here, we need our cards. So if you look at the grid, this is going to be 1 row, right? And it's going to be 4 different cards, so 4 columns. So I'm going to come over here, and here I'm going to set up my grid. So I'm going to call this div with an ID of grid 1 because I'll be doing 2 different grids here, so I want to set them up differently. Now, here's the hard part, so pay attention carefully. Inside of that grid, there is going to be 4 boxes. So I need 4 divs. Okay? And those are all, let's see, are those shoes? Let me just take another look at that. Not really. So I'm just going to call them boxes. So I'm going to say ID equals card 1. And then I'm going to close it here. So this div right here is my first card inside of there. Bear with me for a second. Now, since there's 4 of them, we're going to do 4 of these. 1, 2. Let's bring this in. Okay. Let's call this card 2. To be really lazy about it. There we go. Copy and paste these. Card 3, card 4. Now when you're doing this, please just make sure your divs are all matched. So notice how this has an opening, closing div, opening, closing div, opening, closing div, and opening, closing div, right? And then they're all inside the grid. Let's move this out. So now I have those 4 cards. Now, just to make it so you guys can see it, I'm going to also give these all a class called card. Okay. Let's add that in. So remember, you can't have an ID in a class. Okay. 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 All right. So now if you look here, I have my 4 cards, and you won't see anything just yet because we have to set the grid up. So since this is grid 1, okay, we're going to go over here. Hashtag grid 1. And I'm going to say display is grid. All right, grid template columns is 1FR 4 times because it's 4 fractions. Okay. And then I'm going to add 1 row, so grid template rows. I'm going to say it's about 600 pixels. That's the whole height of that grid. 600's like, that's a big amount. And then was there a grid gap? Let's see. Yes, there does seem to be a little bit of a grid gap, so we're going to do 5 pixels. Grid gap, 5 pixels. Okay, now you won't see anything yet. You just see there's more space down here. Okay, now just to see it, remember I have each one of my cards has a class, so just so you guys can see what it's there, I'm going to say do this. I'm going to say border 1 pixel solid black, so you guys can see what's going on here. All right, so you see now I have my cards. Now if you look over here, I just want to show you something. There's a little space on top of the grid and on the sides. So just to add that space around it, what we're going to do for our grid is we're actually going to add a little bit of margin. I'm going to say margin top, which is on top of it. Let's add 50 pixels. And the margin left is going to be, let's say, 200 pixels. And the margin right, 200 pixels. All right, let's see how that looks. Okay, so that's about what I want to have it look like. Now, if we put it into full screen, it'll be a little bit more like bigger, so it looks a little bit better. Yeah, okay, so let's see, how does that look compared to here? Yeah, that looks about the right size, right? Maybe a little bit more margin on the left and right, if I want to be exact. But that's generally what I'm trying to do. All right, now I got to put my pictures and then the words in there. So each one of these has an image and then some words. So what we're going to do is we're going to do very lazy again. So I'm going to say IMG SRC equals, so I'm going to say card. And let's give this a class called card pick. All right, we're going to style all of these the same. And then I'm going to also have some words. I'm going to be lazy about this. I'm just going to have an H1 here. You'll see there's more there, but I'm just going to do this. I think you would understand how to add more. You could just do a P tag under that if you want to add more. So I'm just going to be a little bit lazy, but let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how I'm putting them inside the cards. It's very important that you put it between the divs for each of your cards. It's in the middle, all right? It's in between the cards. So this is inside of card 3, and this is inside of card 4. So each card has an image and some text. So now we got to get those images. So once again, I'm going to inspect my element. I'm going to find those images in the network. All right? If you don't remember how to do this, you just reload the page. Inside of network, you'll see them all pop up here. Okay, that's one of them. All right, and don't forget to go to preview here if you're not seeing it. Sometimes it looks like this. Just go to preview if you're not seeing the thing. All right, let's see. Okay, first picture is right here, nice and easy. So I'm going to copy that image URL, come back to my website, and put this here. You'll notice it looks terrible. It's too big, right? It's pushing everything, but we'll fix that in a second. Okay, our next one is, let's see if it's in order. Perfect. Copy that image URL. Okay. Perfect. The next one is this. No. Why'd you go away? Thinks it clicked it. Okay. Oh, I'm just doing that wrong. That's me. Okay, come on. Oh, too far down. Okay, this. Copy image. Nope. Copy image URL. Let's put that right here. And then the last one is here. Right? And we're going to copy that image URL. Okay, great. All right, now, once again, I'm being very lazy, so I'm just going to look at the words here. It says harden vol 10 for my H1. Harden all vol 10. And the rest of this, I'm just going to put gibberish. Actually, I'll just put that for all of them. I'm not really trying to make this too exact. I'm just trying to use this as an example. All right, now look how terrible this looks, right? Everything is kind of not great. So we have to style these. We're going to style the words and we're going to style our images. So if you go over here, I had the class of card pick. And what we're going to do is we're going to set the width. Oh, we're going to set the width of all our images to 100%. So check what that does. So you see how that kind of puts that space, right? It kind of contains them. And when you say card with 100%, that means 100% of the div they're in. So it won't overlap like it was before. Now it's kind of stuck in there. So if I reload my page now, okay, you see how they're fitting in there? All right, great. Now, also, let me take off those borders because those aren't actually there. I'll come back to that. They are kind of there, but I'm going to take that out. You don't need it. Okay, now the words are way too big. So those H1 elements, let's see here. Did I give those a class? Oh, that's whack. Okay, let's give this a class of card text. Okay, each one of these is going to get one of those. So this gets a class of card text. This gets a class of card text. And this gets a class of card text. Okay, and now I can study all those. I mean, style each one of those. So I'm going to say card text. The text is pretty small, so I'm going to say font size 14 pixels. It might even be too big. All right, that's actually about right. So now if you look at the actual website, you can see here my cards are looking pretty good, right? Now if I wanted to add more, I could just add my p tags, right? To have that second one, it's very simple. What does it say? Effortless. Where did the real website go? It says effortless versatility on and off the court. Do I really want to do that? I kind of want to do it. Okay. Oh no, I'm not going to do it. Okay. But you could just add a p tag, right? So if I wanted to put more there, I would just add a p tag now. So you might have like your price or something like that. I call this like text 2, right? And I'd say effortless coolness or whatever. You can see now that's coming in there. Okay. So that's version 1. Now I want to be clear about this. Some of you will have cards that have a picture, right? And then some text underneath it, like this one. Other people will have a different version. This is when you have a card with an image, and then, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have an image and then some words on top of it. That's a different kind of these. So if this is how your cards look and you feel good about it, you can move on. But here's what would happen if you had it the other way. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make another div. I'm going to call this one with an ID of grid 2. So I'm doing my second grid now. This one's going to have 6 columns. So I think we kind of get the point, but I'm just going to do this. Okay. Oh, sorry, there can't be a space there. It has to be grid 2. Now, since I have my cards already made, I'm going to make my life a little easier. I'm just going to copy and paste one of them. Okay. I'm going to do a H1 text again. I'm going to call this class of text over because I'm putting text over it. These have to have different IDs because what's it called? They I had the word here. Oh, because I've already used those. So I'm going to call this card 5, right? And this is going to be a different kind of card. Card 2. All right, I need 6 of these. So check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So I'm going to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? That makes sense. 6 plus 4. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, so now I have all my cards inside of my second grid, right? So I have my grid 2 with 6 cards this time. Now a lot of this is copy and paste because we already did one grid. So I'm just going to copy and paste again. We're going to call this grid 2. Okay. This one has 6 1FRs, right? 1FR. So now I have 6 of them. Okay, good. Let's see here. There's still a little bit of a grid gap, and that have those images. Okay, so you'll notice once again there's more space here. These rows are much smaller, so this is actually probably like 400. So it's gonna be a little bit smaller. And then once again, so you can see what's there, I'm gonna call these cards, since these are called card 2, check this out. I'm gonna bring this back for a second. And all my card 2s, you'll see here. See, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those actually look way too big. So why is that so big? Okay, good. Sorry, I made my row a little bit smaller. And then here, these seem a bit too big, so I'm going to bring these down to maybe 200. Let's see how that looks. Okay, let's look on the regular website. Ooh, never mind. That's terrible. Let's try that again. Okay, let's see how that looks. Pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more there. Okay. Great. And those probably need to be back to, I don't know, 400 again. Let's just make sure everything's the right size. All right, cool. A little bit big, but we can fix that. All right, great. So now we can do that. We have these. So I just had to get these images and copy and paste them in as the background. So check it out. I'm going to go back to network, image, reload the page. All right, let's find these nice little things. So we got this. Okay, Mexico, copy image URL. And notice the difference here. So this one is called card 5. And I want to set that as the background because I want text on top of it. So if you want text on top, you gotta set it as the background. So this has an ID of card 5. Okay, and I'm gonna say background URL. I'm gonna set it to that. All right, I'm gonna say background size cover. So that means cover the entire div. And now you'll see it's in there. Okay. Great. See how it fits right in that box? Now I want the word Mexico on there. So let's see here. What did I call? Did I give this text over? Okay. So I'm going to call this text over. Okay. The word here was Mexico. Okay. And I want it to have a white background, like we saw there, and move it down a little bit to the right. Okay. So we're going to say background white. Okay, let's take a look. Yep. All right, width. I don't know. Let me take a guess here. Pixels. And then remember, we got to do margin top 100. Up 300 px. Now 200 px. Just getting 250 px. Just guessing here. Okay, and then margin left 50 px. So we move a little bit to the left. Let's see how it looks on the actual website. Here, how's it looking? Pretty good. This might be a little bit, needs a little bit more space. Okay, so I'm gonna say padding, a little padding here. I'm gonna do 10 pixels. And I'm gonna do font size, let me bring that down to 14 pixels again. See how that looks. How'd I do? Pretty good. This is just too big, maybe a little bit too far to the left, but you guys get the point. So I'm gonna move this a little bit over. Let's do just 20 on that. My width is far too big, so let's get this down to 60 and see how that looks. And all right, I got it. All right, so I think you get the point. I would just add the backgrounds and the text for each one of those, but now you know how to do two different kinds of cards. Cards with text, a picture and then text underneath. Remember, you just add an image, an H1, a P tag, and then when you have an image with text on top of it, so the image is the background, and then you can put the text on top like that. And now I have my Adidas website. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Now you guys can finish up your projects. Remember, you need a nav bar, a splash, at least one row of cards, 3 for the 100. All right,